Hey, welcome back everybody. Welcome to another episode of D&E from home. I hope you guys have been enjoying the videos that Tyler's been putting out on his Jeep. He showed you how to upgrade some of the electronics, read wiring diagrams, and work on his power steering. So hopefully those things have been helpful to you guys and you've been learning a handful from it. If you have any specific requests, we'd love to hear those. I know Philip had a request on how to wire a USB charger to a cigarette lighter and a handful of other things. So definitely send those our way. We'll hear them out, see if we can do a video on them. We just put a video on that together. Today's video is going to be about 3D modeling. Your two biggest requests from us were on automotive and 3D modeling. We covered some automotive stuff so far. Hopefully we'll do a little bit more, and I'm going to be showing you guys how to 3D model a drone. Before we get into the nitty gritty, I want to thank today's sponsor, Catnip. If you love your cats, give them catnip. Makes them happy. Even if you don't have a cat, you got a dog, give a catnip. See what happens. So before we can start 3D modeling anything, we actually have to do a little bit of research. So we just went ahead and did a quick Google search for DIY drone builds, and we found this website that had some pretty good diagrams. This diagram breaks down all the different parts of a drone for us. So it tells us that there's a frame, that's component number 1. Component number 2 is the motors, and that's what the propellers get attached to. We're just going to be 3D modeling this drone. We're not going to be making a drone that we can actually build. This is just for visual representation. So we only really need to model the frame and the propellers. Just like you can see in this exploded axon here, there's a lot of different parts inside of a drone, and we just want the ones that we're going to be able to see so that we can make a representation of this drone. So that's, again, the frame, the propellers, and maybe even a shell. So now that we've got a pretty decent idea of what all the parts of our drone are, we can go ahead and start designing. We're going to be designing our own drone here. We're not just going to be copying something we find online. The best place for us to start is probably just going to be with me showing you what I ended up with. So these are some quick screenshots of and as you can see, there's really just the frame of the drone, which is all these like braces that connect all the different propellers. More of a concept drone. It's the kind of thing you would see in a sci-fi movie. It's my own take on what drones in the future could look like, or maybe what drones look like if you didn't need all of the extra components. Maybe even something you would see inside of a video game. We could render this after we're done and stick this inside of like a video game scene or something. First thing we're going to do is take ourselves over to a space where we can start doing some drawing. The first thing we're going to start drawing is the propeller arrangement. So we've got a few different options as far as the way our propellers can be arranged. All we're going to be focusing on right now is how many propellers we're going to be working with. So the number of propellers. We're going to be focusing on the arrangement, which is whether they're arranged in a triangle shape, a square shape, and we're going to be focusing on the size of the propellers. Are they big? Are they small? Are they a mix of both? And we're just going to lay a bunch of different options out in front of us in a grid-like fashion. I'm going to try and draw some of these as quickly as possible just to get the ideas out. And while I'm drawing these, I'm literally just going to be making them up on the spot. Whatever comes to mind is what I'm going to draw. This first one is just a plus. So we got like 4 propellers. Each of those circles is a propeller. And we're just trying to figure out where they are and how big they are. So with most of these first drawings, all I'm messing with is the arrangement, what shape the propellers are making when they come together, whether that's a plus shape, a triangle, a square. Now I'm starting to mess with linear directions, so maybe they're all in a line, and starting to change some of the size of these. So in those last two, the middle propeller is way bigger than the 2 outside ones, so we're starting to get a mix of different size propellers in this batch. After I'm done drawing all of these different options, we're just going to pick the ones that we like the best and start to do some sketches for the frame of those options. And at this point, I'm just going through and putting a little check mark next to the ones that I like the most. I'm just picking these based on visuals exclusively, like which one I think looks the best. Now that I've got them all marked out and I know which ones I like the most, we can go ahead and start to push those designs a little further. What we're going to be doing is doing a very rough sketch of what we think the frame might look like, so we know where the propellers are going to be and roughly how big they are, at least compared to each other. And we're going to label these so we can be methodical about this, so I labeled them A through E. Each design gets a separate letter, and I'm going to do 5 frame designs per each of those options. So right now we're going to be doing A number 1, and all I'm trying to do is connect the dots. I'm trying to build a structure that's going to be able to hold the propellers together. That's all we're going to be doing with most of these sketches. So literally just trying to connect the dots and make something that's going to hold all the different propellers together. And while we're doing this, we want to be a little creative with the shapes of these a little bit. So we don't want to have these be boring. This is kind of like an exciting, the fun part of this is designing. So we want to design a frame that's a little exciting, looks pretty good, and that we're happy with. So we're going to do a handful of iterations until we find one we like a lot. Again, I'm just making some of these up on the fly. So literally shooting the designs right out of my head, sketching. There's no wrong answers here, so I'm just doing whatever comes to mind. And if I don't like something, it's okay, because there's a lot of other options and I don't have to pick that one. Sometimes I even made the mistake of making the same design twice, and that's all right also, because we're just trying to get ideas out. And as we start doing something, we think it'll turn out one way, and maybe it turns out the same as something else. But we're just going to keep running through a few design options until we get something we're pretty happy with. And we're going to do this for every option. So we're going to do options A through E again, and we'll see which ones of all of those we like the best. So now that we've got all our designs laid out, we can start to think about how it is that we want to move forward. Which ones of these do we like the most, and why? So of all of them, I just went ahead and checked again the ones that I liked the best. I think the one that I ended up picking was a C3. I liked that it had a combination of different propeller sizes, and it was asymmetrical in one axis. So it wasn't like perfectly like a square or a diamond. It was a little different, and I think that's why I ended up picking it. But narrowing your choices down is important because it helps you make decisions as far as what to do next. Now that we picked our final design choice, I just went ahead and redrew my diagram in the top left here on a brand new piece of paper, drew it nice and big so that we can see exactly what's going on. The red line in that diagram shows kind of what the structure is supposed to look like. After I redrew it one time really simply, I just did a plan drawing of what I thought the structure could look like. So you can see it's similar, but I started to give it thickness so I know about how wide things are going to be and give it some actual dimensions. Then I projected all that information down and started to draw the front view and the legs of the model the way that I thought would be cool. Now that we've got all this, we're just going to take this information and start to use it to build our 3D model. We're going to give it some dimensions in Rhino and start to figure out exactly how big things are going to be, refine all the shapes, and start to actually model this next time. So here's a quick snip of what that would look like, and we'll see you again tomorrow for some more drone 3D modeling.